So for teapots, I usually throw the body first. And most of the time I throw up the hump. And like I told you, this piece of clay is around 1.5 pounds. So usually when you open the hole, take it to the right thickness before you make it wider. As you can see that I just reach there and get some water, put it on the surface. Just enough water, you don't need to use a lot of water. See that my splash pan is always dry after I finish because I use the water very efficiently. Keeping the rim a bit smaller while I shaping it. I usually use the wooden rib to remove all of the throw mark because this is stronger. And then for final shaping, I usually use the metal rib because it is flexible, so you can bend the metal rib to and push the curve onto the metal rib to make it smoother and nicer. So I'm cleaning it up to remove all the slip before I finish the rim. So it depends on your design. You want to have a little shoulder to go in. You can push this part here. So there's a little shoulder. Depending on your design, right? Done. There's a little shoulder. And I usually clean the bed right off the wheel, right on the wheel before I remove it. Okay, so that's the teapot body. And then you want to measure the width. Just measure the inner part of that. Right? And then when I'm making the lid, I'm going to measure this part. Okay. Put it aside. For making the lid, And then for making the lid, it's first you also want to make the shape like a donut, because I'm gonna use the I'm gonna trim the knob later on, so you want to have this part a little bit thicker, but you want this part wider so that it's hanging on the body. First, initially, you want to throw like a shallow plate, or shallow bowl. But you want to make sure the rim is a little bit thicker so that you could make your gallery here. This looks like it's wobbly, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Later on you can just trim it off. But you want to make sure that is the right width. It's already wider than it's supposed to be, so I have to push it back. And also this part here, you want to have a little bit of a curve instead of flat, because when you're trimming the lid, you always want to have a little curve. So the inner curve has to follow the outer curve. Otherwise, you're going to end up with having too much clay there. So make sure you have a little dome, little curve here. And I find out this part here, you got a very nice, okay, the thumb got a very nice curve there. And using that part to just push. Okay. And then this part here is a little bit wide, right? So I'm going to squeeze it in. These fingers can pinch on both sides, and then the right index finger just squeeze the clay in. Right? Double check it. Okay, still a little bit wide. Right, so just a little bit, we could adjust it using, again, the very nice 90 degrees. Just like we are throwing the guy one, I told you that I use a very sharp 90 degrees. And then with one finger supported on the inner part, and this part here is squeezing it. So you have the gallery here. Let's double check it. Right, still wide. So I'm gonna apply a little bit more pressure to push this part here, to push it in. Okay. Here, I told you that this part is wobbly, right? So you could leave this part a little bit wider, just a tiny little bit, maybe 1 millimeter wider. So later on, when you try to fit the body and the lid, you could trim either the body or trim the lid a little bit so they will fit tightly. And the teapot, very tight teapot is very, in my opinion, is very important. And the lid part. And I slightly squeeze it so there's an angle. So actually, this part here is a little bit narrow, and the bottom part is a little bit wider, so it's easier for the lid to drop in. Okay, you don't want to be straight. Okay, a little bit slanted. right? So final cleaning, here. And you see that there's still lots of clay there, right? It's okay, don't worry about it. Just get a sharp wooden knife. Right, so the more clay you trim up, the less you need to trim later on. So just clean up a bit. Right, so make sure you leave enough thickness there for you to trim the knot. Okay, so that's the how you make a lid. Right, so this part is going to be the spout. You could have a little bit more clay for making the spout. All you need to do is just making it the size according to the body. Okay, make sure that the spout is not too big or not too small. Right, and then just you can make a hole all the way to the bed. That's fine. So basically you're going to make a small bottle, get a bottle shape. This part a little bit wider, and then taper in smaller and smaller till the rim. Right, and when you color in, make this part narrow, the wall becomes thicker, so you want to thin it down. So you can find the wooden stick. This is the popsicle stick, right? So use that and hold it. I'm using my left hand. I use a thumb to push, and this is grabbing on my right hand. And push that against the inner part of the wall, and then the left thumb is pushing, squeezing the clay up. If the rim becomes too tall, too long, just cut it up. You can tell that I increase the speed of the wheel when I'm doing the final shaping. I don't get it smooth, and also when the diameter is getting smaller, you want to use a faster speed. When your diameter is wider, slow speed. Okay, it's called centrifugal force. Okay, make sure the size is comparable to the body. Okay. You can use a chamois to smooth the surface further. giving the tip of the rim a little bit push, kind of widen it a bit. And usually I will use a torch or hair dryer to dry a little bit and then start to bend it. Okay, bend so the spout, okay, usually you don't want your spout to be very straight. It's a little curve. It's easier for the water to go in, move in with the curve. Okay, so if your spout is too straight, and then when you pour down, for the water to drip back down, it's much easier than if you have the curve like that. So when you pour, see that? For the water to climb back up, it's harder. So that's the reason why you want to use spout a little bit of this kind of curve. Not this curve, okay? This is it's not good, okay? See that? Oh, you see that? Water is gonna come out here. Oh, this straight, right? Water come out, but this, see that? The water to climb back up is harder. Okay? Yeah, that's the teapot dance like that. The handle, spout, and the lid. Okay? So yeah, it's like that. Okay. So I don't have the hair dryer, so I will try to find one later. Okay, and I will show you how to make the sculpture on it. Okay. So I already cut the spout off the hump. Actually, there's a little base, and I cut it a little bit higher. So, and you can see this part here, it's a little bit thick. See that? That's all right. And then also, when I'm throwing the spout, see that one part is a little bit higher than the other, right? So you are going to use the higher part as the bottom part when the tea pour out. So this part will be on the bottom, and the shoulder part will be on the top. Okay, like that. So this part, okay. And this part here is a little bit thick, so you could kind of pinch it. Okay, pinch it to make it. You can extend it if you don't have enough. Pinch it and extend it, okay? And then maybe make a shape a little bit nicer, so you have a little bit more room on here. Okay? So pinch it. And this part here is going to be the bottom, and so the teapot is going to join like that. So this part here, you are going to shave it off, right? So I'm making a mark here. So this is the center part, okay? And then you could just kind of cut it off, chop it off here, chop it off here, right? So you cut it open. You are going to attach this, okay? And then this part here, I told you that you want to have a little curve, right? A curve. So, and I use a hair dryer a little bit. I use a heat gun, okay? Heat it up. Don't heat it up too much. If you heat it too much, when you try to bend it, you might have a crack, okay? So, and the heat gun is very powerful, so just be careful when you heat it up. And you are going to just slightly bend it and kind of pinch. Actually, I was heated up a little bit too dry on this part here too. So I'm gonna wet it a little bit. Oh, that's good. Just do this slowly, okay? Do it slowly. If you having it too dry, you might want to re-wet it too. So you see that this part here, see the curve, right? And this part here doesn't look nice because there's a dent, right? So we can go in there and kind of push it out. This part here, push it.
Just put our finger in there and then the finger in there.
Yeah, we could put the finger there and then we can lightly bend it. So push it out. So this part is not as the curve too much. Okay, so that then it looks nicer. Okay. this part here, you could kind of move it down a bit. The very tip, push it down. So for the tea, it's harder for the tea to, when you pour out, harder for the tea to climb back up. Okay. The more, the better. Okay. The more, the better. Right, so that's the spout. This part here, you have more curve. This part, you have less curve. Okay? And when you attach to it, it's better looking. Okay? Better looking, and also for the function, it's also better too. Okay? And then you just put it aside, and when after you trim, attach the spout, attach the handle. You don't need to make the handle the same day. So after you trim. Usually before I trim the body of the lid, I pull the handle and set it aside so the handle will be dry for maybe a couple hours depending on the weather. Maybe 2 hours. It's easier for you to attach the handle later. You don't attach the handle right away. Okay. Right. So that's how you do the spout.